For too long, we've failed to use the most important word when it comes to meeting the climate crisis: jobs. Jobs. Jobs.
And welcome back to Saturday Agenda. I'm Joe Pinion, taking a special look at President Biden's first 100 days in office. We're in the midst of a green energy power grab by this White House. We're going to review with our panel. Dr. Jessica Moorman is the Senior Director of Science and Policy for the Evangelical Environmental Network. We're also joined by the Executive Director of ClearPath, Rich Powell. Dr. Moorman, I'll start with you. There's been a flurry of executive orders on climate change that seemingly have not stopped. It's out of control. I think the pen's about to run out of ink. What are we to make of this? Because from all accounts, many of the policies that are being implemented don't actually even achieve the things Democrats claim they do.
Right. It has certainly been a flurry of executive orders. And one thing I will point out is with the rollout of his executive orders, Biden promised to make oil and gas workers partners in the process instead of adversaries. But so many of his executive orders have sent mixed signals there, meaning that he's got a lot of work to do to gain their trust in this. The truth is that we're in the midst of a market-based transition to a clean energy economy, but also that natural gas is going to be an important part of our American energy mix for years to come. And new research shows that investing in our gas grid, investing in and employing American pipeline workers is actually critical to achieving our zero carbon emission goals. And so I really encourage President Biden to take a look again at those executive orders, right. Make sure that he's living up to his promise for both keeping his word as well as the good for the American economy and the clean energy transition.
Right. Rich, want to get you in here because you have President Biden talking about jobs. If you want to talk about jobs, fracking, those are jobs. Those are also a low emission gas that we know has to be crucial to any type of green agenda. And yet somehow they want to get rid of the fracking. You talk about jobs. We have a Keystone pipeline that not only gets rid of those jobs, but also sets the tone for other jobs that we know help power this economy. How do we get people to understand that while you're sitting here talking about what we're not going to do, across the ocean, you've got China. They're the leading producer of solar panels. They're the leading consumer, or second leading consumer of solar panels. They're producing 30% of the wind. They are in many ways cornering the market while Joe Biden is sitting here talking about the jobs that he's going to cut based off of jobs that don't even currently exist.
Thanks, Joe. This is so important. Here's the thing. We don't need to be defined by Democrats on climate. We have our own solutions. We've been leading on this issue. And too often, climate change is taken out of these false choices of renewables versus the environment, or jobs versus fossil fuels, or economy versus the environment. We think energy innovation can get us beyond all of that, can find ways to keep using the fossil fuel abundance we have in the United States, but to do it in a cleaner way every year. And to your point, will get us to the point where we can actually push back against Chinese emissions and all of those emissions coming from, the Chinese energy development around the world.
Right, Dr. Moorman, get you back in here because the Democrats, they want to talk about this borderless world. They don't seem to want anything happening on the southern border. They just think that everyone's going to flow in here. They don't think walls work. And yet at the same time, we look at the issues that we have with energy, with renewables. What happens in China impacts what happens here. Trying to re-enter a Paris Accord does nothing for the fact that even the nations that are in the Paris Accord have no obligation to keep those promises. And meanwhile, we are locking ourselves into a scenario where we will lack the capacity necessary to power a 21st century America, allowing other people to basically corner the market on the type of actual expansive economic growth that is required to maintain our position in the world.
Absolutely. We have to make sure that we keep China accountable both to their stated emission goals, as well as they are right now. The truth is they are the dominant leader in clean tech manufacturing. And it's not only an economic imperative that America keep China accountable on that front. It's actually a moral imperative. The reason they've been able to become so dominant in the production of solar panels, of wind turbines, is actually because they've been subsidizing that cost with forced labor and other human rights abuses.
Right.
We need to get into the game as Americans. We need to reverse the trend of Chinese dominance in the clean tech space and bring those family-sustaining, high-wage jobs, clean tech jobs here to the United States, both to support American workers and families and to cut back on those harmful human rights abuses that China's been engaging in.
Rich, got about 30 seconds here. We know for a fact nuclear has to be on the table. Democrats have basically turned their nose up at nuclear. 30 seconds here. How does America cut China off at the pass for a multi-trillion, multi-generational opportunity of a lifetime to make sure that we maintain that economic dominance and also, in the process, our national security?
Absolutely. Advanced nuclear energy is absolutely crucial both to solving the global climate challenge and to maintaining American economic competitiveness and national security dominance around the world. China and, importantly, Russia are both largely dominating global nuclear trade. At this point, we've got to come back on this. We have to invest strongly in American innovation in advanced nuclear. We've got to make sure that we can export these technologies around the world, and we've got to make sure that we keep our strong existing nuclear fleet alive and well here in the United States. We've got a strong and robust supply chain.
All right, Dr. Jessica Moorman and Rich Powell, thanks so much for joining us. God bless. Talk to you soon.